All right, it is time to talk about something that will make it look like you have superpowers when you walk into a new space. It's called reading the room. You know that feeling when you walk into a space and immediately are able to sense the vibe there, the energy, the feelings. Maybe it's tense in this room. Maybe it's exciting, there's excitement, or maybe there's just something off that you can't quite put your finger on, right? That energy, it is always telling you something important and it is going to guide how you respond to it and therefore how you make people feel around you. When you start being able to observe that and you tune into it, you know how to pick up on those cues, connecting with people becomes so much easier, almost effortless. It's like this hidden language, right, that's in the room. It's always been right in front of you. But now we're going to talk about how to pick up on a couple little things that are going to help you to respond appropriately, which is going to make that response give people a specific feeling, warm, fuzzy, energy, motivation, inspire them. And that is going to give you that charisma, that it factor, that magnetism, making people want to come and be drawn into you. So every room, every group, it's always going to have its own kind of energy when you walk in. It's like a silent conversation that's happening that you can't hear, but you can see it, right? You can pick up on it. It's actually one of the things that most people never learn how to tap into. And they're missing a huge opportunity if you do want to be able to make great connections when you're out networking, when you're presenting in a work situation, just in a new social situation, right? Some people call it reading between the lines. You probably heard that. But I like to think of it as listening with your eyes. It's not just about what people are saying. It's not the words they're using. It's about how they hold themselves, the tone of their voice, and even where they're sitting or standing in the room. Okay, that's a huge one. And we'll go over some hacks in a later session about how to optimize where you stand and where you position yourself at a networking event or a new social event. All right, so let's break down what you're going to be looking for. And I'm going to give you some of the high-level items to look for. The first is going to be body language. And I can tell you that people's body language, it always speaks louder than words. When you see someone sitting with their arms crossed, they're slouching, they're avoiding eye contact, they're looking at the floor, it's often a sign of discomfort or sometimes even defensiveness. Okay. So when you see someone doing that, they're probably feeling uncomfortable, unconfident. That's like ducking down, trying to hide, or defensive. You're closing yourself off to prevent somebody from getting in. Okay. Then on the other side of that, someone who's leaning in, making eye contact, or at least eyes out in front of them, right? Nodding while we're talking, smiling. They're likely engaged and open to connection. And if you notice, when I come up, my arms and shoulders are open. They're out to everyone saying, come on in. So you want to pay attention to that subtle little nonverbal cue of closed off or open, because it's going to tell you how someone's feeling. And then you're going to be able to respond appropriately based on how you know they're feeling in the moment, right? Help them to open up, help to inspire them, give them that energy, that confidence to move outside of that stance. So I want you to, when you approach someone, you can mirror their behavior a little bit, but don't, if they're closed off, don't repeat that. You want to keep your arms uncrossed. You want to keep your posture relaxed and your hands visible, right? And then just mirror their energy. I'm very high energy, but if I walk up and somebody is very shy and they're quiet and they're talking like this, I'm not going to come in yelling usually, okay? I'm going to match them where they are a little bit, but still have that open, inviting feeling. That's going to put them more at ease with you. It's going to create an instant sense of trust without you ever having to say anything specific. Okay, the second thing I want you to look for when you approach someone or a group is the tone. The tone of the voice is like a mood ring in a conversation. I don't know if any of you remember mood rings from like the early 90s, maybe late 80s. I liked them. If someone's speaking with enthusiasm, they're excited, or are they really dragging their words with, a hint of frustration? What is the tone of how they're speaking? In addition, people can sometimes say one thing, but they're feeling something entirely different. And it's your job to listen for that subtext. For example, someone's saying, I'm fine. Well, that doesn't sound fine. But if they say, how are you doing today? I'm fine. Totally different, right? A monotone voice is probably not fine. That frustration lingering, that, just that depressed tone, that lower tone, that low energy might not be fine. If someone's tone is negative or it's closed off, don't match that. I want you to shift it instead. How do you do that? Speak a little slower, a little calmer, and really soften your tone. This simple shift can turn a really tense conversation into one that feels supportive and open, right? Like that. So you're not just changing the tone only, right? When you change that, you are changing your tone, but not just the tone. You're changing the mood, and that response in your tone is going to open the conversation up for more connection and inviting them in and setting them at ease and making them comfortable. Remember, it's about how you make others feel. That's how you are that it person, that person that comes in and lights up the room, right? So you want to make them feel comfortable. Pardon. Okay. So where people position themselves in the room, where they sit, where they stand, that matters. The way they're positioned in a space can tell you a lot about the room dynamics, the group dynamics. Are people sitting together in a close-knit circle? Is there one person slightly separated from the rest of the group? Who's sitting at the head of the table? Who's standing? Who's seated? These are little details that we're going to go through more in depth to reveal really who's leading the conversation, right? Within that group, who's listening, who's following, who's comfortable, who feels maybe a little bit out of place, unconfident, who's feeling nervous, who's feeling passionate, energetic, who's feeling a little bit defensive, closed off. So I want you to notice who's sitting or standing at the edges of the group, right? Maybe somebody who feels like they're not really able to get in that group. And I want you to pivot your body toward them. I want you to open your feet up, open your toes up, open your arms up, shoulders back, and of course, eyes out. And then engage them with eye contact, a smile. Smile goes a long way, especially smiling with the eyes, or a direct question. This little gesture can make them feel included. It can make them feel valued, and it can shift the dynamic of the room from that feeling of exclusion to more of an open connection. Okay, so if you want to invite someone over, that's the way to do it. Open stance, smile at them, connect with the eyes, and even approach them and say something. Ask an open-ended question. Ask how they're doing. Ask what's going on. What do they like about something? Get them opening up and talking. Okay, so challenge for you. The next time you're in a group setting, whether it's a work meeting, I don't care if it's a social setting, a get-together, a party, casual gathering, a networking event, take a few moments to really look around and read the room. I want you to pay attention to who's comfortable and who's not, based on what their face and micro expressions are saying, based on their body. Is it closed? Is it open? Is it slouched? Are they looking down? Are they at a phone? I want you to read that and also look at how people are interacting with each other. What's the tone, the energy, the facial expressions, the body language, who's dominating that conversation, who's hanging back from the groups in the conversations. Start training yourself to notice little details about all of that, body language, tone, position. Then I want you to adjust your approach to that person. Speak to those who need the engagement. You can mirror open body language, and you can open somebody else up and make them feel more comfortable, connected, and really make them feel uplifted, right? That's going to make you appear very confident and have that it factor, that charisma about you. So something to leave this session with. Remind yourself that the room is always speaking, even when it's silent, when no one's talking. Learning to listen with your eyes can give you a super connection advantage, like a superpower in every social situation. Learning to pick up on how others feel and be able to see things through their lens, their eyes, is going to really allow you to connect deeper with people. It's going to allow you to have that it factor, that charisma, be confident, and really project that yay energy, the warm, fuzzy feeling. Okay. So a trick, if you walk into a room and the room is feeling heavy or tense, you walked in on something, you can use what I like to call an energy reset. So this is where you're going to simply shift the energy by introducing something positive. Now, you don't have to come in when it's tense and all of a sudden you're like, hey, how's it go? I mean, I don't want you to do that, right? That's awkward and weird. But opening it up with a compliment, a story, or even a light, appropriate joke. People follow energy. So when you increase that energy, when you boost that up, you elevate the energy in the room, people will naturally gravitate toward you. You will become a magnet, attracting them over. They want that positivity. They want that energy. They're like, that's where I want to be. It's subconscious. It happens. It's going to be the person who brings a sense of relief or ease into things. They're easy to approach, brings excitement into the space, into the room. So again, so important. This is something that a lot of people miss. They're focused on themselves instead of everyone around them. I want you to be focused on everyone around you, how you make them feel. Your responses should project out what makes them most comfortable. And I also want you to start focusing on their responses to what you're doing, to your energy, to your smile. That, my friends, that is going to help you to pivot and adjust throughout that conversation to really customize it for what that person needs in the moment, how to make them feel empowered, uplifted, excited, good. You can actually come in. You have the power. I'm not kidding. It's not any weird trick. It just is. If you walk in and somebody's feeling down or somebody's feeling unconfident or anxious, you have the power, the ability to lift them up. You have the ability to influence, not control. Remember, we talked about you can't control what people say, think, do, but you can influence their mindset, their outlook and perspective on something. You can motivate them to take specific actions based on your actions, your responses, your stance, your energy you're projecting out, your outlook, your attitude, your mood. It is contagious. So I want you to practice going into a room, shifting your focus to everyone around you, not worrying about what you're feeling inside. It's going to allow you to step away from that too, so you're not so hyper-focused on your anxieties, right, or your insecurities. You're going to walk in and you're going to come in, eyes up, open stance. You're going to have that smile and you're going to come in and you're going to wave and you're going to say, hey, Yeah, how's it going today? Tell me a little bit about what's going on. You're just going to come in with this sense of ease, not focused on a script, not focused on how you're feeling, but focused on what you noticed around, and try approaching someone who is, again, feeling a little uncomfortable, right? If there's no one like that, you can approach someone who's leading the conversation, come in, you can connect right in there and start leading with them, right? And you can share the energy that you have. You can share the mood. You can uplift people in a room without saying specific words. And it all starts with observing all the little cues around you and training your brain to pick up on them automatically. The more you practice it, the more it will become a habit, and the more that habit becomes what? Your go-to natural behavior. All right, and we'll talk a little bit more about this in a session on networking, but those are really some of the biggest tips, some of the little cues to look for when you're starting out. So I want you to practice that, even walking into the room with your family, walking into a work environment. I want you to practice these little hacks, these little tricks, these little observations. I want you to practice that and start making it a habit to be focused on everyone around you.